Do you love the bucket hat?
Is the 5001 staple tee your go-to blank?
Have you ever wondered about the logistics of opening a distribution center?
And are you afraid of a dormant volcano hot tub in the middle of the ocean?
I certainly am.
I'm not going in that hot tub.
If so, then this is the podcast for you.
Welcome to Last Call for Plastisol.
Cheers. Hey guys, welcome to Last Call for Plastisol. I'm Christy Rossi.
Hey, and I'm Jeremy Ray, and today we're going to do some sponsor reads for our episode coming up. What episode is it, Christy?
We're just going to title this one AS Color episode.
AS Color episode, because we don't know when it's going to drop. So,
it's a surprise.
it's a surprise.
So, Jeremy, who's our first sponsor today?
Our first sponsor is Monarch Color. See my shirt?
I really like these shirts.
Yeah, they're nice.
Yeah, I'm all
So-
about a skull.
We are honored. I feel like we're super honored to
Yeah.
be sponsored by Monarch Color. I could sit here and read off the sheet, but we do that every single time, so I'm just going to wing it.
Can I tell you, I switched over to Monarch Color about a month ago, and
Yeah.
it has changed my life.
Really?
And my employees' life. They told me the other day that they are so happy with their job now because of Monarch Color. The ink goes on so smooth. There's no fiddling with it for, figuring things out. It's the same every time.
That's cool. Yeah, my employees really like it too. I think it's the fact that Monarch didn't just rush to release their inks. They don't have a million different versions of them. There's just a hybrid version, like a low cure version, and then a regular version.
Yeah.
And they're like masters of the ink color for the digital side. So they spent a ton of time like focusing on Plastisol ink, and I think they perfected it. It's really, really good. It's kind of hard to get right now, unless you have a distributor. And that distributor for us is Blue Ridge Screen Products, and we'll talk about them in a second. But Monarch Color, they do color matching systems. We have that.
Easy to use, as long as you read the instructions.
Read the instructions. Read the instructions.
Yes.
And then what's great about them is that it's not the most expensive in the industry. It's not the cheapest, but it's just I've heard it said before, it does what it's supposed to do. Monarch Color, definitely check them out.
Yeah.
They are a sponsor of our show, and
Thank you, guys.
And we give away free Monarch ink on our show, so stay tuned for that.
Our next sponsor is Blue Ridge Screen Products. You know what? I'm not going to read anything about Aaron either at Blue Ridge Screen Products.
Because you got plenty to say about him.
I do. What about you?
I have a lot to say about Aaron. Aaron is... He goes above and beyond, especially if you buy equipment from him.
Yes.
And he does sell equipment. He sells all kinds of equipment. But his customer service is phenomenal for a screen product shop. You just don't have a salesman showing up all the time just wanting to sell you stuff and give you the next best ink or anything like that. He is super invested in you as a partner. Yes,
he is. I gave him a call, I think it was yesterday or the day before, and I go, Aaron, I just want to tell you all these good things. I want to tell you about, you helped me sharpen my squeegees, you helped me get my emulsion dialed in, you helped me get new ink, you came and trained my staff, and we are so happy. And he goes, I feel like you're about to tell me something negative. Yeah. And I go, no.
Yeah.
No.
But where's the but?
And I was like, no buts. I just want to tell you how wonderful everything is.
Yeah. No, that's good. Yeah. Listen, you guys, you know what it's like to have all the different, distributors and all that for all these screen products, and they're big and they're incorporated, and they, you start to become just a number with them, and just like, hey, well, how big's your shop? Well, let's, deal with you. Aaron doesn't care how big your shop is. Aaron doesn't care where you're at in the industry.
He likes people that care.
He loves people that care. And so that's, if you're like that, then Aaron's a good fit for you with Blue Ridge Screen Products.
Yes.
And he ships all over the country.
Sure does.
And then finally, PMI Tape. And PMI Tape sponsors our What's on Press Wednesday. Listen, you guys, What's on Press Wednesday? You just got to post something.
That's it, to get a beer.
I'm not giving away much beer because you're not posting anything. This is a me and to you talk. Let's get serious about What's on Press Wednesday. It's free beer. Free.
Can I win it?
Yes. I entered it. I win this week. No.
It's a rigged contest.
So, but PMI Tape sponsors that, and they're great. And so, yeah.
Roll with efficiency.
Roll with efficiency. So, on with the whatever episode we're doing. It's the AS Color episode. We don't know the number.
I feel like it needs a little star in front of it.
It's the asterisk.
AS Color.
AS Color. And it's a great episode, you guys. There's a lot of information there. So, without further ado, check it out.
Thanks.
Today we've got Wyatt Strassner.
Strassner. Yep.
Strassner.
Yes. Take one.
Got it.
From AS Color.
Great to be here.
Wyatt, where are you coming from today? Where did you guys travel from?
Well, I'm originally from Los Angeles,
Okay.
so I'm based out on the West Coast.
Oh, you're fancy.
Well, so to speak. But yeah, I flew into Charlotte last night and just doing a little bit of an East Coast tour here.
Okay, very cool.
Yeah. How are you liking this humidity?
My hair's loving it.
You have really good hair, dude.
Thank you. I fear I won't have it for much longer, but we'll just keep it going.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Well, we met in ISS Long Beach.
Yes.
And it was actually, we met before then. I was like, I tried to hit you up on email because I wanted to join AS Color, but then I was like, and also, hey, we got an upcoming, a show, and we kind of threw around the idea of you guys sponsoring us, and you did.
We did, yeah.
And so that was awesome.
It was awesome, and the artwork that you did and the printing was awesome.
Yeah,
by
did
the
you
way.
get a shirt?
I did get a shirt.
Awesome.
Yeah, I've been rocking it. People love it.
Cool, man.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Yeah. Jeremy's really proud of these shirts.
It's very proud, and full disclosure, I didn't know what I was going to get myself into. I was Golden Press is the one that put us on to you guys, and I'm like, okay, I'll order some in. I ordered samples. You gave me ideas for samples. I ordered samples in. I'm like, oh my gosh, these feel really great. And then we started printing on them, and they are phenomenal to print on. So literally, every time if you look over at the table, there's 2 separate AS Color orders there, and the guys that print, they're like, yes,
Love it.
Yeah, it's just a great shirt to print on. So
Awesome. We love
Testament.
hearing that feedback.
Yeah, absolutely. So you were talking about ISS, and you were kind of, Christy, you were asking how that was for AS Color.
Yes. So, well, first, I'd like to know more about AS Color.
Okay.
Like, how did you guys get started? Tell me the story, because actually, before Jeremy told me about AS Color, I had no idea who you guys were.
Yeah, totally. I'd love to give you a little bird's eye view of the history of the company and our U.S. footprint and all that. So, I guess rewind the clock back to 2005. The owner of the company, he's originally from New Zealand. Mm-hmm. So AS Color was founded in Auckland, New Zealand back in 2005. And at that point, the owner of the company was a distributor for various apparel and footwear brands, bringing American products into the New Zealand market. And at the time, he was bringing in all-style T-shirts. And essentially, he was looking for a female equivalent for an all-style T-shirt that he could sell to his customers. And he wasn't able to source one, so he was like, well, I'll just go make my own T-shirt. And he got a really great response from the customers. I think he ordered 5,000 units at first. And then the response, like I said, was really positive from his customers. And so he was like, well, this is a pretty good thing I've got going, so maybe I'll do men's T-shirts. And that kind of started the whole train. And fast forward 18 years later now, and we've got 5 distribution centers across 4 countries.
Wow.
We've got 25 retail stores around the world, 350 global employees, and over 300 products in our range now.
That's awesome.
That's awesome, yeah.
And it's way more than shirts.
It's way more than shirts. Yeah, shirts was kind of the genesis of the company, but since then we've expanded into fleece, headwear, caps, beanies, all kinds of bags, tote bags, backpacks, waist bags, and then pants and shorts, and a range of other substrates like flags and towels and that type of stuff
Yeah.
too.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, actually, what you sent, or Rick, your dad sent, we got to talk about that because I was there with my son, and we hung out with Dad's running a business too. That was pretty cool.
100%.
Dads and sons. So, but when you sent the stuff for us, and then Rick sent some more stuff for us, he sent like a step stool, or like a step stool, a dog bowl, all kinds of cool stuff. So like you got your logos on everything.
Yeah, so
backpack away, a basketball hoop.
Yeah, exactly. So that's a family of products that we call the gadgets.
Okay.
And the idea behind the gadgets, it's really hard goods for print shops like yourself to use on a day-to-day basis. Obviously, we're all kind of reaching for stuff and measuring stuff, and we need pens and pencils and box cutters and all this kind of stuff. So we were like, well, let's make some gear for the screen printers. And we've got some really cool additions coming that I think you'll be excited about. We're making squeegees for the presses.
Yeah.
We're making spatulas to get the ink.
Yes.
And then we're also making printers, shirts, and jackets that are basically like workwear overcoats that you can protect your normal
I'm
clothes.
excited about it, but I think the viewers will be super excited about it as well.
I love a good squeegee. So
yeah, it was funny. We were doing some testing on the squeegees, and one of the printers that was testing was like, "This is the best squeegee I've ever printed on or printed with."
Spot the screen printer.
Yeah.
Well, I will touch real quick since we mentioned it. So, I'm in business, and this business is, it's going to eventually head on to my son at the screen printing side of things. But it's just this opportunity for me and him to kind of do, and my wife's involved too. So it's a full family business.
Dexter, the dog.
Dexter, the dog's involved. Yeah, it is literally a family business. But it was so cool to be out there and then to meet, you, and then you're like, oh, that's my dad.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what? This is so cool.
You're like, I know that feeling.
And he's the coolest dude.
He's a pretty cool dude, I will say.
Yeah.
So he and the owner of the company have been friends for a while. So
he was in a streetwear or something?
Yeah, so he was in Action Sports. He worked
Sports.
for Soul Technology, which had a bunch of skate apparel brands and footwear brands under it. And that's how they actually got introduced to each other, because they were kind of both working in Action Sports in the early 2000s. And then when the opportunity came up for AS Color to come to the U.S., the owner was like, well, I know Rick, and Rick knows Wyatt, obviously. So this could be a pretty good little beachhead for me to get into the U.S. market.
Yeah, and so if you want to go hang out with some cool father-son stuff, son people, we ended up after dinner. We ended up on a yacht in the harbor.
The Rock Yacht, yeah.
Rock Yacht.
Listening to Everclear.
Yeah, I didn't think
this
I was
the craziest thing.
Yeah, it was a pretty surreal experience. I remember like listening to Everclear when I was in like middle school, when I was first like getting into albums, and they still got it.
They still got it. It was a little rough, but they still got it. I'm sure that they're not watching this. Maybe it would be cool if they were.
So besides the Rock Yacht, what was your favorite thing at ISS this year?
Oh, I mean, ISS was great this year. We had, I guess, foregone going to ISS 2021 and 2022. We did go in 2020, but just because of COVID and everything going on at that point, we hadn't been for a couple of years. So it was awesome to just, get back into the scene and see all of our customers and, see all the other brands and see kind of, everything under one roof. It's a really cool experience. But I think my favorite takeaway from the show was the fact that we were doing a live printing exhibit for the first time, which was really cool. We collaborated with a really talented graphic designer. His name's John Bannon, and he's based out here in Charlottesville, Virginia, I believe.
Okay.
And we made this really cool support your local print shop graphic, and we got a ton of positive feedback from it, and it was great, working with Family Industries, who was the on-site printer, and just kind of, doing something that was different than what a lot of the other vendors were doing.
Yeah. So you guys, as a shirt manufacturer and a brand, what is your main goal when you go to a trade show like ISS? Is it just exposure? Is it meeting with your big clients? What do you guys go for?
I mean, I would say it's a variety of reasons. You touched on two of them. I mean, exposure is definitely, a big one. We're relatively new in the U.S. market. We've only been here for about 7 years. So getting our brand in front of, faces that we might not always have the opportunity to see, around the country and harder to reach places. It's always awesome to meet new customers and kind of, show them the brand in person in that way. And then also, seeing existing customers, really cool seeing our, key customers from around the country kind of, again, like all under one roof. yeah, it's just a really, really good energy at a show like that, right?
Yeah.
Where everyone's kind of all there and excited about the, the industry and the direction that it's moving.
Yeah, that's great.
So we mentioned your shirts are awesome to print on. What's the qualities? What makes you different from all the other manufacturers?
That's a great question. I think the starting point would be kind of going back to what I was saying about us as a retailer. We've got 25 of our own retail stores around the world where we sell the blanks just direct to consumer.
Yeah, it's cool to burp on the podcast too.
Okay,
I already had one burp. So.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
So you can just let it fly?
You can let it
Yeah.
fly.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, it'll probably be on the beginning of the podcast as like a blooper, but it'll be all good.
Noted.
But so you have a retail. So you're selling.
Yeah, so I mean, we sell these shirts in a blank, in a retail setting, blank with no logos on them.
And what's the price point? Or
Yeah, so they're actually really well priced. I think our 5001 staple tee is around like $18 now.
Okay.
That's not bad.
Yeah,
Okay.
for a premium, blank garment,
Yeah.
it's a pretty good price. Just kind of going back to us as a brand, like one thing I think that really sets us apart is the fact that we're a retailer in the sense that, we're approaching our production from a retail standpoint. So what that means is basically, the tightest QC that we can, the nicest fabrics that we can source, the best colors, really on-trend silhouettes. And then all those kind of, benefits trickle into the wholesale category because, there's no difference between the retail and the wholesale product. It's
Right.
just the channel that it's being sold into.
Yeah.
So-
I love how you guys do like the different weights as well. Like you have them categorized. It's almost like, it's the same shirt, but then it's heavier.
Totally, yeah. I mean, we use a really nice blend of Australian, American, and Indian cotton.
Okay.
And then we do that in various weights. So starting at like 4.7 and going up to 5.3, 6.5, and now 8.2, which is our heaviest T-shirt.
Wow.
Yeah,
Yeah.
pretty full on.
Yeah. And like that's the in thing, right? That's the style.
heavier shirts.
It's-
Yes,
Heavier
it's
shirts
what's
is-
trending right
That's
now.
what's trending right now.
It's
for sure.
very much in.
So I have a non-related question.
Sure.
It's a New Zealand company.
Originally from New Zealand, yeah.
Have you been to New Zealand?
Yeah, I
What's
have.
your favorite part of New Zealand?
Oh man, that's a great question. Well, when I went in 2017, it was great because I got to do both the North Island and the South Island, and geographically, they're very different feeling from each other in terms of like the vistas and the landscapes and all that. There's a really cool spot in Tairua, which is on the east coast of the North Island, and it's called Hot Water Beach. Have you heard of it before?
No.
No.
Oh, it's really cool. So basically, there's like some kind of dormant volcanic system underneath the beach.
That's fun.
And what yeah, it sounds a little gnarly
Eerie,
at first glance.
I really want to go there.
Yeah, you really should. No, but it's cool because what they're kind of known for is you're able to basically dig sand out of the beach, and then the water that comes up is hot.
Wow.
Okay.
Because of the kind of
Yeah.
volcanic activity. And then so people basically just build like their little hot tubs right there on the beach, and then the ocean water flows in and kind of regulates the temperature. And so you just grab like a 6-pack and hang out with your friends. And
That's awesome.
Yeah.
it's pretty wild. It's kind of surreal.
It's dormant, but it's not.
yeah.
It's not. Just don't
it's
think
like-
about it too hard.
Yeah.
It's
Just don't
like
think
what is
about
it? The Tetons and all that up in
Yeah.
Yellowstone. There's like they're like, don't worry, if it blows up, nobody will feel it. You know,
No,
Yeah.
you're gone. You won't care.
nobody will feel it.
Yeah, but for
It's
that
the
half
world's
an hour while I was
largest
there, it
fault
was like,
line.
yeah, I'm just not going to
We like to
about
take
this.
the fun out of everything.
Awesome. Well, so your website calls out quality, respect for details, and keeping it simple. You had mentioned those things. Is there anything like so? I always, like I'm pushing passion and purpose for like everything that we do. We, like I think Steve Jobs once said, if you don't have a passion and a love for what you do, like you're gonna when things get hard, you're gonna quit, right? So
Yeah.
do you guys got like missions and visions for AS Color, like kind of goals that you want to reach?
Yeah, I think the overarching goal for our company is just to be the best blank brand in the industry, and
That's a good goal.
Yeah, I mean it's
Solid.
it's a simple kind of straightforward goal, but how we get there it's pretty nuanced, right? It's about the product, the quality of the product that we're putting out. It's about how we make the product. It's about, the culture that we're trying to instill within our company with, the employees. And yeah, it's to be the best blank manufacturer and to create the best blanks that we can for printers like yourself to print on.
Yes. And Christy, have you used AS Color?
I've never used AS Color. I have some AS Color shirts from you.
Well,
and from
for the
Golden
longest
Press.
time, you were saying that you came over to the States. You were over in Europe, right? So now you have a distribution in LA.
Correct. Yep.
And then, but you're here.
We're here. Yeah. So
yeah.
I'm sure you're wondering why. How?
Why are you in Rock Hill right now?
Yeah, well, we like you said, we launched our initial facility in Los Angeles, and that was servicing the entire country and Canada.
Right.
And as the business has grown over the past 7 years, we definitely were, of the mind that we need to have a second facility here in the U.S. to, service this massive population.
Mm-hmm.
So we launched a facility in April of 2023 in Charlotte, North Carolina, which is about a stone's throw away from Rock Hill.
It's exit 1, and I'm in South Carolina, so it's right there.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
So how big is the facility, did you say?
It's big. Yeah, it's 250,000 square feet.
Oh, wow.
Okay.
Yeah. And
was that built from scratch?
I don't believe it was built from scratch. It was existing, but we did add our signage, and obviously we filled it up with a lot of AS Color products.
Yeah. Wow. That had to have been a nightmare.
Well, it was definitely one of the biggest logistical challenges that our company has faced, and I think we did an outstanding job. It's interesting. I've heard various stakeholders in the company talk about how logistics was kind of a hidden kind of crash course that they were taking when they decided they wanted to launch a t-shirt company. It's like, well, yeah, t-shirts are great, but you got to figure out how to get them to the people and how to get them fast to the people.
Yeah.
So
and the blank industry is even more unique, right?
100%. Yeah. Especially in the US market, with distributors and that whole kind of distribution model. But yeah, so it's been a great logistical challenge, and we've executed it pretty flawlessly from what I've seen. We're the only market that has 2 different DCs. So essentially, that means a split website with 2 different points to order from.
Okay.
And so there's a lot of logistical kind of back end that goes into getting that
absolutely.
up and running.
So I'm wondering, you said distributor. I can't even spit that talk. Distribution. I'm still saying it wrong.
He's been sick.
I've been sick. I'm on
delirious.
I haven't been taking the cough medicine today, so
Really?
I'm good. Yeah.
Well, you haven't coughed at all, just burped a lot. That's about it.
Yeah, you got a little
That's
IPA to,
Right. But distribution. So you don't do distribution, or you do, or what?
Well, essentially what's saying there is we handle all of our own distribution.
Okay.
We don't leverage existing distributor networks to kind
Gotcha.
of do that heavy lifting. So there's a pretty sophisticated, picking and processing and checking and shipping, systems that we've developed over these past 18 years as a company to, like I said, get the product to the people and get it to them fast.
And so why did you decide not to use one of the big shirt distributors to distribute your shirts?
Yeah, I think there's a couple reasons for that. I think the first reason would be because in New Zealand and Australia, where, those are our home markets, so to speak, the distribution model isn't really as much of a thing down there. Mm-hmm. A lot of the businesses just go direct to customers. And, as our business has grown, we've found that there's a lot of value in developing those face-to-face relationships with, printers like yourself,
right,
without adding that extra level of complexity of, okay, there's another party involved and, they want their percentage and all this and that.
Yeah.
And, at that point, AS Color's one brand in a book of 100 brands. So there's, the salespeople might just be trying to sell whatever sells and not pushing one product over the other. And so we decided to keep things simple. Like you're saying, that's one of our company principles. And we were like, we're going to do our own distribution. And I think that falls in line with, what we were talking about earlier is about our kind of stance on quality and setting ourselves apart in this industry that's, dominated by these massive companies. We kind of wanted to, be a little bit of a dark horse.
Yeah. And you know what? And I mentioned it a bunch of times in the open house, but I was humbled by the fact that, and I consider you a large company, helping out a small shop. right? And I mentioned that while we were in ISS as well in Long Beach, and it was really cool. Like, why partner with a smaller shop? Like, and I kind of got the vibe that, like, you guys, it doesn't matter what size shop you are for us to want to do business with you and do business well with you. Like, you're not turning down the small guy. So who is your kind of ideal customer for your shirts? Is it bands and brands? Is it? I mean, it's a great question. And to kind of touch on your point, like, yeah, we're not shy about working with the smaller customers, because we see it as an investment. One day small customers turn into larger customers, and having a brand that can support them there at the beginning of their journey, let alone with a premium product that they can print on, there's a ton of value in that for both parties. So yeah, we're definitely not shy about working with companies regardless of their size, quote unquote. Sure.
But what was this?
Christy calls it screen printing posturing, right?
What?
Like, screen
Have I
printing
ever
postures.
said that word?
Yeah, you were saying like, how many presses do you have?
Oh, yeah. No, like the ultimate flex. Like, I have 3 autos. And I'm like,
totally.
Are you profitable? I don't want to hear it.
Yeah.
So I guess the question is like, who's your ideal customer? Like,
yeah. I mean, I think,
I see, like, I learned from you, or I learned about you guys from a company that was all about bands and brands.
Right. I mean, it's really interesting. Our range is so big now. We kind of touched on it a little bit, but there's just so many products in it that I would say our ideal customer is really anyone who's looking for premium quality garments. And there's just such a need for that, I think, in our industry, really moving the needle forward on what's available at a wholesale level, and how to build a brand, and how to gain loyalty with the products that you're offering. There's a pretty clear correlation with all those kind of points, and I think for small brands and small retailers and anyone looking to get in the game, coming into the game with a premium product is really going to give you a leg up on competition.
Right. So interestingly enough, the shirts that are over there on that table are a customer came to us. It was a gym, and literally these guys are
They're
biggest,
huge.
They're the
They're
biggest
huge.
dudes. The biggest dudes
Like
in the
they're-
world.
And I
man.
print for a lot of gems, but these guys are huge.
These guys are huge.
Like, they got muscles.
Like, yeah.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
he goes, I want a pump house shirt.
Yeah.
And I was like, I have no idea what that is, right? and he showed me pictures, and I'm like, so you want like a boxy 5XL and you're 250 pounds with all muscle, like.
Yeah.
And he put the 4XL on AS Color, one of my shirts that I had from the show.
Oh, nice.
And he's like, this is it, dude.
Nice.
But it was
It's
a
a nicer
4XL,
texture,
and he goes, do you have a 5XL? I'm like, I'm fatter than you.
Well, we do have a 5XL for the record.
He does, yes, and there's actually some black ones right there because he couldn't get them in the same color, but yeah, he and they love them.
Yeah,
and I was like, pump house shirts. Who would have thought?
Pump
But I
house.
gave him. I was like boxy.
totally.
So that seems to be the style.
Totally.
So one of the things that I'm passionate about is learning about like all aspects of the print industry, from like ink manufacturers to supply houses to shirt manufacturers to distributors to screen printers, and then our end customer, like linking everybody together and seeing everybody's unique point of views in the industry. So like, how are you as a shirt manufacturer educating the people that are further down the line in the sales cycle from you on what you offer, how they can be better? Do you do any of that right now?
So you're asking specifically about like educating customers about our garments in particular, about why they might be better,
why they would want to use you over anybody else, and how they can use that knowledge to sell to their customers.
There's a variety of things that we do on an international level. For instance, in New Zealand and Australia, we host these things called print nights, where one of our representatives will go to a local shop that we do a good amount of business with, and they'll invite all their customers and kind of key stakeholders, and there'll be custom graphics made, and it's basically what you had done with Anatol earlier this year, where you just have a cool crew of people get together and talk about the industry and the various options that are available, and whoever the sponsors are for that night. Maybe it's a certain ink company or a certain press brand, but that's basically like off hours kind of education.
Yeah.
That stuff is valid though, because we're printing during on hours.
Totally. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think on a more, I guess, like social media driven level, we're at this point now where we're interested in developing content to, educate printers like yourselves and brands about these, various perks to using AS Color. So that's something that's currently happening. We recently brought on a really killer marketing director and global sales director this past year, and he's been kind of spearheading those efforts to get a kind of a YouTube series, additional marketing assets about our brand, and kind of get the word out there.
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah, I mean, what's really interesting though is that our brand has continued to grow organically with basically no marketing for the past 15 years.
That's awesome.
And that's kind of a testament to the quality of the product. There's such a need for it in the market, and to see that type of growth without any major marketing initiatives is a positive sign, which is why we invested in, doing more of those kind of events.
Perfect.
Yeah, and I was on a Facebook page the other night, and it was, screen printing help page, and they were like, all right, go to blank. Your go-to number one, your default blank. And there was Gildan, and there was different variations. Oh, it was the next level this, or it was the Bella this, or whatever.
Mine changes like every year.
It changes, right? Yeah, and your go-to blank, and there was probably 4 people on there. It was like AS Color 5001.
Yeah, I mean that type of social proof, I think, can be more valuable than us, pumping our chest and being like, we make the best blanks, when it comes from someone that doesn't have a stake in like that idea. It's just total validation that like, there's something special happening here.
That's awesome. Yeah.
So my next question is, my shop is like right down the road, like closer to Charlotte. And I get a lot of customers that are very interested in sustainability of a product. And so when I was on your website, I saw that many of your garments are recycled. Why is that important to you guys?
Yeah. Well, I just want to make one clarification. We actually use recycled polyester in a lot of our garments. Okay. So the full garment itself isn't necessarily recycled, but a key component, the polyester, is recycled. Perfect. But I think what you're asking about is kind of just like our brand ethos, and I like to think of it as really ingrained in kind of the New Zealand sentiment about stewardship for the planet. They're a smaller country of 5 million people, and they just approach things a little bit differently than a mass manufactured company like the United States might. And using Ecotech's factories, Ecotech certified factories, and BCI Cotton, Better Cotton Initiative, child labor free. All these kinds of things, I think, are really important in a modern kind of 21st century company. Yeah. It's like you can get information so easily now on the internet, and, find traceability. And I think it's important for a company, to be transparent about that. Really interestingly, in 2022, we participated in the Ethical Fashion Report, which is put on by the Baptist World Aid. They're an independent organization that basically surveys these 500 top global fashion companies and ranks them on their levels of sustainability and ethical production. And we actually scored in the top 3 out of those 500. We were number 3.
That's awesome.
Super, super exciting. It was the second year we participated in it. But we were just behind Patagonia.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and obviously you hear all about Patagonia. It's probably since the 80s about how they're leaders in sustainability and all things ethical. And to be just behind them is really a testament to our kind of brand ethos and our production team's drive.
Yeah.
Are there any challenges in creating garments with recycled polyester?
I wouldn't say necessarily challenges. I mean, we, for a while we were making garments with virgin polyester, which is like, obviously non-recycled. And then we got to a point where it was like the opportunity and the availability for recycled polyester came onto the table, and we were like, well, this is no brainer. Why? Let's go for the recycled. It's better for the environment, better for the company.
Is it more expensive?
I don't I don't know actually. I would imagine if it is, it's not much more expensive because our costing hasn't changed too much since we've introduced the recycled polyester. I think it's more of kind of social facing, like, hey, this is good for the company, this is good for the environment, the world at large. So yeah, we're gonna do it.
Awesome.
Yeah.
What's your so you guys, we talked about how many different things you guys offer. What's your favorite?
Oh man.
Pick a favorite.
Favorite AS Color product, man. That's
Just one.
Just a product.
5, 4, 3,
Is it
2,
the
1.
fanny pack?
No, it's not the fanny pack.
Okay.
Man, I really like the
I have the fanny pack.
I like the
I can't wait to see you in the fanny pack.
I was gonna try to embroider something on it, but it wouldn't embroider. I was like, oh man, it was just not. It wouldn't fit on the machine right.
honestly, I like it all. We just crush it. But if I had to pick some favorites, the 5001 staple tee.
Yes.
That's like the everyman anytime tee.
Yes.
I also love the 5916, the stadium shorts.
Okay.
I live in those after work. Like,
Okay.
if it's like
I have to
6
try
o'clock, those are coming on.
Yeah. I have a staple tee on right now.
Oh, you do? Yeah, I was
This
going
is
to say,
a
that's a
staple
good looking shirt.
Yeah.
Yeah,
this
I
is a
like that
staple tee.
color too.
Yeah.
It's very popular.
You know
right
what's
now.
cool about this shirt is that you can get it on lastcallforplastisol.com.
You really can.
It's a passion and purpose shirt.
Yeah, that's the bird stabbing shirt.
That's the bird stabbing
Scares
shirt.
me a little, but Jeremy
Yeah.
likes it.
It's got a bird stabbing graphic, which there's a long story to it, but the theme is passion and purpose. And to atone for sin, you had to sacrifice an animal back in the day. There was passion and there was purpose.
There you go.
So-
All great graphics have a story behind them.
This guy Christy's like, you're still killing a bird, dude.
Still scared.
So if you
I
want
will
the bird
take
killing
my-
shirt that
take
Christy
my
doesn't
smiley
like,
face shirt over here.
I like that one too.
He can have his bird stabbing shirt, but that's for sale.
that's for sale. Absolutely.
Although I will say there's a noticeable difference between the fibrillation on Jeremy's shirt and the fibrillation on Christy's shirt. I can just tell that there's a little more texture.
Yes.
Is that a Comfort Colors?
Yes, it is.
1717?
Yes.
Yeah.
Wow, he called you out, dude.
I know.
He called you.
I know, but I love.
She
I
loves
love,
color.
I
It's
do.
cool.
I'm a Gildan girl
listen,
too.
I'm a soft shirts guy before I knew about AS Color,
Yeah. Yeah.
and I like them both. So it's cool. I mean, we're a screen printing company. We have to sell everything.
Of course,
You
there's
do.
space in the industry for everyone.
Yeah, absolutely.
I have to
So-
play favorites though as the AS Color
Yes.
employee.
As you should. As you should. And I'm going to Barbados in a few weeks with Gildan, so
Yeah,
I'll wear my Comfort Colors shirt right now.
that's completely cool too.
Yeah.
And that was what I thought that was really cool, that your dad being in the business for a while. And I was like, hey, listen, Gildan, the Board of Decorators wants to be there. And he was like, absolutely.
Yeah.
No, that's
Everybody
like,
plays nice together.
Everybody plays nice. Everybody plays nice. So why we really haven't gotten into what do you do for the company?
I was even wondering that, but I was like, did I just miss it? I
Yeah,
don't know.
what do you do?
I mostly do this where I just come on podcasts. No, I
That's a great life, Wyatt.
I know. I was like, how can I parlay this into my
Travel.
future job? No.
This is what I'm
I
trying
go to
to
New
do.
Zealand. I sit in hot
Screw
tubs.
printing.
yeah,
shirts.
yeah. No. So I am the second employee for the U.S. market. So I've really seen the kind of evolution of this business, and I've really participated in every stage of it. When we were launching back in 2016, Rick and I, we would unload containers and we would pick orders and we would process orders and we did customer service and sales. And as the business grew, we hired more people, and so our roles kind of got more focused. So at this point, I am the Northwest outside sales rep.
Okay.
So I focus on the LA, Los Angeles, California, and then up the West Coast through Oregon and Washington, and then east across Idaho and Montana and Colorado and those states.
And we have your East Coast guy standing here off in the distance.
We do. This is our new hire, Anthony. Yeah, it's his first day actually.
So
Are you serious, Anthony?
Yeah, it's your first day, dude. So this is a heck of a first day, right?
He's getting the inside scoop. I mean, we've gone pretty hard today. We haven't even eaten since like 8 a.m. this
All right,
morning.
so you
but
need to go eat.
no, we're drinking our.
Yeah.
At
How's
least,
your beer, by the way?
Oh, it's
Have
great.
you had that one before?
I have had this one actually. It's a staple in our house back in LA. So I was
Yeah.
like, "Ooh, mango cart, yeah,
I got
I will
this.
take that."
I am glad I
What do
picked
you
it.
got? I got the torpedo.
I haven't had that one before, but I do like Sierra Nevada.
Yeah, this is extra.
Do we need more beers, by the way, or is everybody good?
I'm good right now.
Yeah, I'm good. Thank
Okay.
you though.
Cool. So, AS Color, where do you see it going in the next 5 years?
Well, I mean, there's a lot of geography out in the world that hasn't been exposed to AS Color products yet. It would be awesome to, see more of that happening. Like I said, we're live in New Zealand, Australia, the US, Canada, and then we have distribution in the UK, which obviously covers England and Scotland and Ireland. It'd be great to make some inroads into, mainland Europe. I think there's a lot of potential in South America as well. Whether or not we, move forward with distribution and all that kind of stuff down in those markets, I guess remains to be seen. But I think the overall trajectory of the company is just going to continue taking a bigger piece of the pie because the product is just great, and there's a really big need for it.
So my one thing that came up at the show, at the open house, is that, okay, great, they're moving to Charlotte. Does that mean like shipping's less? And I'm like, well, if you're close to Charlotte, then you're gonna, I guess, eventually be able to pick up, right? But
I think that's the goal. Yeah.
Yeah, and then the $1,000 minimum for shipping, and that's always like, oh man, $1,000
just for free shipping. Okay, free, but you can pay for shipping if you want, right?
You can pay for shipping.
Okay.
Yeah, and it's actually, if you're paying for shipping closer, it's going to be cheaper.
Yeah.
Right. Instead of me buying them from LA, it's a lot more expensive.
100%, and that was part of the reason that we wanted to launch on the East Coast was like, we need to get product to people on the East Coast faster and cheaper. So that's why we chose Charlotte, right? Yeah. Right, kind of smack dab in the middle of the East Coast.
Do you see as it grows that maybe that minimum goes down?
It's a good question. I think there's a lot of discussion about that. I don't know if I can give a hard answer, yes or no.
Okay.
But
that's cool.
That's fine. Yeah.
I'm in your corner though. I'll put it that way. I'm rooting for you.
We asked him beforehand if there's any offset like topics, and he's like, "No." I'm like, "I'm hammering."
He's like, "Give me free shipping."
And you're like second in charge, right?
I mean,
if anybody has pull,
I think I got.
We are here for you guys. So.
So, do you keep an eye on what colors are selling and all of that? What's the most popular color that's trending and stuff?
Wow, I mean, we love color. Obviously, our name is AS Color, so we really got to be bringing some decent colors with a name like that. Lately, we've seen a lot of interest in the bone color.
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah.
I actually have one.
Mm-hmm.
That's one of our shirts.
Yeah. And you know what was funny is the last podcast read that we did, I watched the video again, and me and you were both in the same color shirt by different people. And I was like, why can't we pick some color? But it's very trending, and I sell a lot of that color right now too.
Yeah, the bone has been massive for us. We brought it out on a couple products this past quarter, and then we just saw massive success with it, and we were like, all right, well, let's bring more. So
the coal is pretty cool too.
The coal is great.
It's just an off black.
Yeah, it's like a faded black.
Faded black. It's actually really good.
Yeah, it's a really good color. This is a faded bone actually.
Okay, that's nice. I like that.
Yeah, this is a new shirt that hasn't launched yet. It's coming. It's launched in LA.
Cool.
It's launched in LA. It's coming to Charlotte in June, so not too far. But this is basically a garment dyed version of our heavy tee.
Oh, nice.
Awesome.
So it's called the heavy faded tee.
I sell a lot of garment dyed apparel. People love it.
They love it. Yeah, no, totally.
Yeah, it's softer.
Yeah.
It seems to be softer, but the staple tee is super soft too.
Mm-hmm.
It's extremely soft. Yeah, I think people like that like vintage, like broken in, like 90s type of.
Yeah, it's just in the past couple of years.
Totally.
So here's how I sell it. I sell it as the shirt you want to wear to bed.
Yeah. The garment dye.
The garment dye. Well, anything, honestly, like the soft shirt was that shirt for me. And I'm like, they were like, hey, all that we're talking about here is like giving you a shirt that you really, really want to wear, right? And they're like, yes. And I'm like, would you want the shirt that you would want to wear to bed? Like that's the key thing. Wear the shirt to bed.
Totally.
And they're like, yes, that's the one that I want. And I'm like, all right, here it is.
Yeah, here you go.
I've got it. Yeah. And it's that, it's the garment dyed, or it's the, the soft shirt, or it's the staple tee, or it's something.
Sure. Yeah. I think the stadium shorts that I was telling you about earlier, that's like the short equivalent of the shorts that you want to wear to bed.
Yeah, exactly.
Like I was saying, 6 o'clock, they're coming on and they don't come off until the next morning. So
Yeah.
So
important
when
to
I
have a
was at
comfortable shirt.
ISS, I saw people like gawking at your hats. Like, oh my gosh, they were so popular. People were just like drilling in all the little hipsters, like influencers. They had their phones out and they were like, look at this AS color hat.
Totally.
So where do you see hats going? Like what kind of styles and stuff?
Yeah, I mean, our headwear has really taken off for us over the past couple of years. I think the horse of a different color for us is the 1114 surf cap.
Mm-hmm.
It's 100% nylon. It's unstructured 5-panel flat bill. We make it in like 14 colors.
Yeah.
And it's just a really great hat that has performed really well since we launched it. So we actually rolled that fabric out across a couple other hats earlier this year. So we now have a curved bill 6-panel and a bucket hat in the nylon and like a kind of active cap with the mesh on the sides.
This
Christy's bucket hat thing.
This bucket hat trend. What do you think about it?
That's a good question. I mean,
Give me honest lie detector time.
I mean, I think. Well, it's not for me personally.
Me either.
I think it's great. I think
Yeah.
ultimately fashion is just an extension of a person's like individuality and expression.
Yeah.
And I think if people are gravitating towards that,
We sell so many bucket hats.
yeah,
So many.
I think it's great.
It's not the Richardson hat anymore. It's the bucket hats
So-
all the time.
Totally.
Think about like that trend though, right? Like it was back in the day, it was
I had one, a Stussy one, when I was a
all the-
teenager.
and then the flat bills came around and everybody wears flat bills, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And then, it just it's all cyclical. It all comes back. It all goes,
Totally. I think my earliest memory of a bucket hat, it's like Gilligan's Island, like
Yes.
Right.
that like white bucket hat that he
That's
wore.
all I picture now.
Right.
So back in the 90s, it was The Game. There was like this company called The Game. And they did all the, like, it just said The Game. And they did all the different teams for college.
Yeah.
And it was always just a white hat.
Yeah.
And now I see that coming back again. I'm like,
Totally.
it's all coming back again, just white.
Totally. Yeah. I think too, if you're wearing a bucket hat, like maybe you're not taking things too seriously. You're having fun, right? Which is like, we're all part of this big experiment called life. Like, have a little fun with it,
Yeah. You know what? The Jenko jeans are going to come back too. Those big baggy ones.
Pretty sure those are already back in
hammer
the
pants?
That was the same time.
Oh, yeah?
Same time.
The Bugle Boys?
I don't know what that is.
You don't know what a Bugle Boy is?
No.
Oh, my God. All right. It must be a northern thing. I don't know. You probably don't know what it is either. Like, how old are you, dude?
How old do you think I am?
I think you're probably like in your 30s.
I think you're right. Yeah.
Okay.
I'm
All right.
I'm 34 for the
All
record.
right. So I said the 90s, and you have no clue about the 90s.
Yeah. I didn't
was
want
a
to
kid
call
in the
Jeremy out for
90s.
being old, but yeah, Jeremy, we don't
I'm
know what
50.
you're talking about.
I'm 50. Your dad's a cool dude, though. Like I was having fun hanging out with him as a.
Well, cool dudes recognize each other.
Yeah,
that's
that's
why we
right,
were
yeah.
hanging out. We were
That's
like,
why we were-
oh,
You guys
this
should
guy's
get
cool.
matching bucket hats.
We could embroider them or
Yeah.
print them.
Yeah.
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 I'm really good at embroidering them now.
Yes, you are. All right. So we already did the funny question, Christy. You said the bucket hat thing.
I know. I love that.
So Wyatt, I mean, tell us. You got 5 minutes. I want to say 5 minutes. 30 seconds. 1 minute.
This
1 minute.
timeline.
Kinda,
How many beers have you had,
like,
Jeremy?
I don't know. Just tell me about AS Color. Like, to wrap it up. Tell me about like what do you want to say about AS Color to our listeners?
Yeah, I think there's a ton of benefits to using our program. We have no minimums. We do flat pricing. We've got retail ready quality because we have retail stores of our own. Anyone that's doing direct to consumer or retail or just looking to make high quality garments that are kind of apart from the industry as a whole, we don't work with distributors, so our products aren't quite as saturated in the market. So for early adopters and on trend brands that are looking to kind of differentiate and offer quality product, there's really no better solution than what I can tell from my experience in the industry. And that's not because I work for the company. That's because I have a bird's eye view of seeing the whole industry. And I just don't think anyone really does it quite like AS.
And how do they get in touch with AS Color? How can they, get a setup?
Yeah, for sure. visit our website, ascolor.com. There is an application for a wholesale account at the very bottom of the homepage. It just says wholesale pricing application. Just click that and fill it out, and our reps will get in touch, and we'll begin that process of getting the account going.
Awesome.
And you have a location in Charlotte.
Yep.
Now, a location in
Charlotte.
LA.
So 2 different warehouses that they can order from.
Yep.
And your new sales guy is going to be traveling around and meeting everybody locally.
Yeah. We've so I was the only sales rep for a couple years there for the whole U.S. and then we just brought in another rep for the West Coast, and then we got Anthony on the East Coast now, and then we're about to hire another one for the Northeast.
That's exciting.
The New York area.
It's a lot of growth in 1 year.
Yeah, it's massive growth. Yeah. So we're super excited about it.
Are you at any upcoming shows?
Well, we probably are going to do the Impressions trade show again in early 2024.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
I know that's a circuit where they put them on a couple different spots around the country.
Yep.
We probably won't do any for the rest of the year, and we'll save our energy for that big 2024.
Yeah.
But
that's a huge one.
It's a huge one, and I mean it's really fun. You know?
Yeah.
We did the Orlando one a couple years ago, and that was great. But I think Long Beach is
everybody
pretty fun.
goes to Long Beach.
Yeah.
So thanks a lot for coming on the show, man.
100%. Thank you for the support, and thanks for having me on. It was awesome to chat with you.
No problem, man. And guys, check out ascolor.com. Like he said, sign up. It's from my experience, awesome T-shirts.
Yeah.
And other products. We gave away basketball hoops and all kinds of fun stuff, and people loved it.
Bucket hats,
your fanny packs, all of that stuff. They do have, I'm telling you, like if you want like the streetwear trend for your customers, that's really the place to shop and go.
What I notice about your products is I love the stitching on it, and I love the longer torso on it too. It just feels very high fashion. So
absolutely, yeah. No, we appreciate that. We, like our kind of principles say, we try and respect the details, and obviously, high quality stitching is an important one to get right.
Yeah. I like that too, because nothing makes me more angry than when I'm like loading a shirt on the press and the stitch is out on the bottom of the shirt. I'm like, day ruined.
Well, if you liked what you heard today, please give us a like, click, and subscribe. Go to our website, Last Call for Plastisol. We'll put all of Wyatt's information, AS Color's information into the show description, so that you guys can go right from this episode right over to ascolor.com and check them out. And it's spelled AS Color with a U.
With a U.
It's fancy.
Yeah. It's fancy. It's European.
It's foreign.
It's foreign.
It's foreign. There's an inside joke at the company where it's like, oh yeah, it's spelled with a U. It looks foreign. It looks fancy.
Grab your beer, Wyatt.
Cheers.
All right, here we go.
Cheers,
guys.
Jeremy.
Cheers.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks for everybody.
Thanks for having me.
Bye.